This summary of the 80-20 principle, The Secret to Achieving More with Less by Richard Koch, is about to begin. Enjoy. Key point 1. The imbalance ratio of efforts to results. The 80-20 principle uniquely cuts across all segments of society. Some refer to it as the Pareto principle, as Vilfredo Pareto was the one who described it first. As an economist, Pareto's career involved studying the economics of nations and how resources were distributed among people. It was while doing this that he discovered a repeating pattern. He found that the wealth of every nation was controlled by just a few minorities. This discovery led him to study the concept further, realizing how consistent the principle was. Of course, Pareto did his best, but he didn't fully understand it himself. Other people after him chanced upon the principle in their study, most of them without even consulting Pareto's materials. The works of these economists and researchers have helped develop the principle into what it is today. Individuals who understand the 80-20 concept have been using it to maximize personal and corporate productivity. It's your turn to do so now. Before we proceed, what exactly does the 80-20 principle mean? Simply put, a minority of efforts accounts for most of the output. In other words, only a few things are responsible for the vast results we see around us. Just as only a few people control most of the world's wealth, only a few students come out top in their class. If you take the time to observe, you'll see the Pareto principle. There is an imbalance in life. Causes and effects are not always, if ever, in the 50-50 ratio. The 80-20 principle doesn't necessarily imply that precisely 80% of results come from 20% of actions. The percentages are not always consistent. What's consistent is that a few steps are essential in the whole scheme of things. Understanding this will help you prioritize the things that matter. What should a company do when a fifth of its customers make the most purchases? A reasonable approach is to find creative ways to satisfy that 20%. They could also develop new strategies to market to the bottom 80%. But they won't know how to do this effectively if they don't take the time to see how the 80-20 phenomenon applies to their organization. Soon, you'll learn how the 80-20 principle can help you in the corporate world and your personal life. Let's get started. Did you know? Vilfredo Pareto first introduced the Pareto principle in 1906. Key point 2. Use 80-20 to boost business profitability. Every business venture is out to maximize profit. It's sad that, at one point or another, most businesses will experience setbacks that could have been avoided if the decision-makers knew better. What if the 80-20 principle can help you pinpoint potential loopholes in your business? Many businesses use the 80-20 principle to their advantage with the resources at hand. You, too, can apply the principle to your business. It's not difficult, but a bit analytical. Here's a simplified way to go about it. Take the out time, or hire an analyst if you can, to study the following 3 components of your business: your products, your customers, and your market position. How many products or product lines do you produce in a month, 6 months, or a year? Choose the most reliable stats. And what are the sales and profit for these products? You will understand what customers patronize you the most and how often, as well as those that do not contribute significantly to your sales. You will likely find an imbalance. Only a few % of your total customers contribute to the bulk of your business profit. Go deeper to understand the reason for the trend. Is it that the top 20% of customers have more capital than the others? Why do your products not appeal much to the bottom 80%? Is it a cost problem or something else? Note all these down. Your market share is determined by the number of people who love and consistently patronize your products. So, the above analysis should reveal your position in the market. Now, what are creative ways to maximize your products, boost sales, and increase profits? One great way to do this is to focus on serving the top 20% and make efforts to reduce losses coming from the bottom 80%. It's also a great idea to study your competitors. Understand if you have the same product line and if their market is moving. Things that matter most must never be at the mercy of things that matter least. Richard Koch. You may be producing the same products, but your competitors are more valuable in the eyes of the people. Understand why and what you can do to grab a better market share. Key point 3. Learning about your top customers will help you multiply sales. There is a reason your customers or clients are patronizing you and not your competitors. If you find out why and make things work in their favor by pleasing them, your business will continue to enjoy growth. After discovering this top 20%, your job is to figure out a way to keep them glued to your business. You should consider expanding your market share in the future. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that, but don't lose sight of your existing market. Knowing your top customers should also influence your marketing strategy and the quality of business decisions you make from time to time. Target your marketing at the top 20%, and you won't need to bother much about the marketing resources you put in because you know your efforts will surely pay off. Sales is like the twin brother of marketing. One can't function without the other. As such, make it a point to encourage peak performance among your sales force. Any business with a weak sales force will eventually crash, no matter how good its products or services are. You can also apply the 80-20 rule to your sales team. Research shows that less than 50% of the sales team in a company accounts for most of the sales. Identify this minority in your sales force and don't joke with them. You can even figure out what the most performing salespeople in your business have in common and use this to set standards for the rest of the sales team. It may be a specific strategy that works well, or they may have soft skills like communication and persuasion. Could these skills be taught to the underperforming majority? If yes, you may need to hire an expert for sales training, but if that doesn't work, you could always ask the best performing salespeople on your team to help you hire folks like them. Don't be afraid to lay off underperforming workers. Business is business. Your goal is to maximize profit using elite resources, not keep paying people that can't produce the results you're paying them for. Key point 4. The 80-20 principle can help you achieve more in less time. To effectively maximize the 80-20 rule, you must first understand that our world's imbalance is real and natural. Next, you need to imbibe 80-20 thinking. We're talking about critical thinking that no one can do for you, mainly because it applies to your personal life. No one knows your personal life as much as you do. You can't even explain it to a coach perfectly such that they know exactly what's going on with you. Hence, 80-20 thinking is a personal thing. It's a relatively easy thing to do, though. The 80-20 thinking for practical time usage is about brainstorming creative ways to leverage time. Approximately 80% of our results come from 20% of the time. Ask the most productive people, and they'll tell you they could be more productive 24 hours a day. There are specific times when each of us is highly productive. If you have yet to learn your most productive times, the simple exercise below will help you find it. Think about the last time you felt productive. Go over at least 2 more productive days, too. This is just so that the conclusion you arrive at can be certain to work predictably. After identifying at least 3 productive days in the past, the next step is to find why and when you were productive on those days. Did you work at night? In the early hours of the day? What happened the day before that could have contributed to your productivity? How did you handle distractions on those days? Document your thoughts. Use recurring points as pointers to your productivity. Reflect on your most productive days, figure out what you did differently, and do it again the next day. You can also use a similar exercise to improve your happiness level. Richard Koch recommends having 2 blank sheets of paper. Label them Happiness and Achievement Islands, respectively. On the first piece labeled Happiness Island, identify the things you did that made you happy on such happy occasions. Do the same for the Achievement Island. It may be a mental activity, as you may have to do some deep thinking. But it's all okay because you'll find gems that will become your productivity tools. A word of caution. As you carry out this exercise, try as much as possible not to blame others for making you unhappy or unproductive. Blaming people won't help you make progress. Key point 5. When it comes to relationships, choose quality over quantity. We can't do without relationships. Life isn't meant to be lived in isolation, so we would always need people by our sides. It's pride to say you don't need anyone. Learn from nature. You were born into this world by your parents, you most likely have siblings, and grew up having childhood friends even when you didn't know anything about life. That's proof that we need people. One important thing you should know about relationships is that they influence who you become. The common saying is true: you become like the people you hang around. If your friends are all millionaires, it will only take time before you become one. Similarly, if they're all broke, you'll end up like them if you don't do anything about it. Choose your relationships wisely. You can't choose your family members, but you have the power to choose every other person you hang around. It's in your power to choose your significant other, best friends, professional allies, neighbors, and so on. Make it count. You might be wondering how 80-20 applies to relationships. Here's how. Study upon study has shown that we have limited space for close relationships. You can be friends with as many people as you want, but you can only be close friends with very few people. These few people account for 20% or so of your overall relationships, but they make for more or less 80% of the value you get from relationships. For example, most people fall in love only once in a lifetime and have 2 childhood friends and 2 adult friends. The trend continues even in professional relationships. People may look up to tens of seniors, but only 1 to 3 will truly be their mentors. It is just how we're wired. Since we have limited capacities for close and meaningful relationships, wisdom demands that you fill your spaces. Take time to vet people. Since we have limited capacities for close and meaningful relationships, wisdom demands that you don't rush to fill your spaces. Take time to vet people. Aside from choosing your significant other and best friends, Robert recommends developing 6 or 7 professional relationships as follows. 1 or 2 with someone you admire. Up to 3 relationships with reliable peers. 1 or 2 relationships with mentees you'll pour your life into. For every relationship you form, 5 attributes determine if the relationship will work or not. They include mutual enjoyment of each other's company, respect, shared experience, reciprocity, and trust. Key point 6. Yes, you can live the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. For most people, certain lifestyles remain a dream that will never come true. The main reason for this is that most such people have limiting beliefs that keep them stuck in lifestyles they don't like. They hate their work. They don't like their relationships. Their bank account is nothing to write home about, but they can't seem to do anything to change their situation. Another set of people similar to these are those that don't even know what they want out of life. These people go through the motions, taking whatever life throws at them. Don't feel bad if you belong to any of these categories, but understand that you can have the life you desire for yourself. To live the life of your dreams, you need to know exactly what it looks like. Pick a pen and paper or use a digital notepad to write down everything you want out of your life. Make a list as exhaustive as possible. Next, who do you know that is living such a life? What did they do to get there? And what are they doing that you're not? Success always has a blueprint. It's hard to discuss success and having it all without discussing careers. The reality is most, if not all, of us will have to work, at least as adults. And it's not wrong to work. What's terrible is fitting square pegs in round holes. Many people are doing just that. You will find them in careers that don't suit their lives, and they won't leave. If you don't like your job, you can still be in it if it's the only thing paying the bills. But remember to have an escape plan. For example, let's say you'd like to be an author rather than work in your current accounting job. It's not reasonable to quit immediately. You could continue working with the accounting firm while building your writing career on the side. If you do this consistently and long enough, it will get to the point where the income from your writing side gig will suffice to take care of you. When this happens, save some more from your accounting job if you don't have anything saved for rainy days, then quit. Don't be stuck in a career you don't like without an escape plan. As important as work and career are, it's still important that you live a balanced life. You should be happy on all fronts. If you're not, it shows that something is missing, and you may need to apply 80-20 thinking to bring balance to your life. If you're making progress at work but failing maritally, then you need to address that quickly. If it's your health that's suffering, pause and focus on it. The point is, don't live a lopsided life. Let each area of your life be healthy. That's how to be a happy person truly, and if it's possible for others, it's also possible for you. Those who seize the day become seriously rich. Richard Koch. Conclusion. The 80-20 principle advocates focusing on the top 20% that brings the most results while neglecting, or paying less attention to, the bottom 80%. Doing this will not cause the bottom 80% to be entirely ignored. The 80-20 principle is nature's way of balancing itself. What you neglect as the bottom 80% is the top 20% for other people. So you ignoring it means allowing someone else to maximize their life and business. For example, suppose you're a business owner and focus on investing more in the few workers that bring in most of the profits. In that case, you might eventually lay off some workers who aren't productive in your company. It isn't wrong. It will profit both of you because those laid-off workers might later realize that they aren't made for the role they took in your company. In turn, this may lead them to self-discovery. Of course, this isn't always the case, but many great men and women would never have been great if someone didn't push them out of where they weren't meant to be. Try this. Apply 80-20 to time management. Take a piece of paper and pen down how your most productive days went. Note the things you did differently that helped you tick off your to-do list. Did you begin work earlier? Did you rest well the day before? What did you do about social media distraction? Note all the things you did differently. Use the list as your unique productivity and time management template. Summary complete. Please take a moment to rate it so we can help you grow in the best way possible.